Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Isma and we shall be discussing the mechanisms of excretion of concentrated and dilute urine. Mechanism of excretion of concentrated and dilute urine. Kidney can excrete concentrated urine when there is excess of solutes, and it can excrete dilute urine when there is excess of water. What are the important requirements for urinary concentrations? Number 1, the presence of high levels of ADH, which increases the permeability of distal tubules and collecting ducts to water. This allows these tubular segments to avidly reabsorb water. And number 2, a high osmolarity of renal medullary interstitial fluid. This provides the osmotic gradient which is necessary for water reabsorption to occur in the presence of high levels of ADH. The osmolarity of the interstitial fluid in all parts of the body is about 300 milliosmoles per liter, which is similar to that of the plasma. The osmolarity of the interstitial fluid in the medulla of the kidney is much higher and may increase progressively to about 1200 to 1400 milliosmoles per liter in the pelvic tip of the medulla. This means that the renal medullary interstitium has accumulated solutes in large excess of water, and once the high solute concentration in the medulla is achieved, it is maintained by a balanced inflow and outflow of solutes and water in the medulla. The renal medullary interstitium surrounding the collecting ducts is normally hyperosmotic. So when high levels of ADH are present, water moves through the tubular membrane by osmosis into the renal interstitium, and from there it is carried away by the vasa recta back into the blood. Thus the urine concentrating ability is limited by the level of ADH and by the degree of hyperosmolarity of renal medulla. So as you can see, ADH plays an important role in the concentration of the urine. In the absence of ADH, the osmolarity of urine is 100 milliosmoles, even about 65 to 70 milliosmoles, meaning that dilute urine is formed, while in the presence of ADH, the osmolarity of urine is 1200 milliosmoles, meaning that urine is concentrated. What is the process by which the renal medullary interstitial fluid becomes hyperosmotic? This process is known as countercurrent mechanism, and it depends on the special anatomical arrangement of the loops of Henle and the vasa recta, the specialized peritubular capillaries of the renal medulla. In humans, about 25% of the nephrons are juxtamedullary nephrons, and the loop of Henle and vasa recta that go deeply into the medulla before returning into the cortex. Some of the loops of Henle dip all the way to the tips of the renal papilla, which project from the medulla into the renal pelvis. Paralleling the long loops of Henle are the vasa recta, which also loop down into the medulla before returning to the renal cortex. And finally, the collecting ducts, which carry the urine through the hyperosmotic renal medulla before it is excreted, also play a critical role in the countercurrent mechanism. The two subtypes of the countercurrent mechanism are the countercurrent multiplier mechanism and the countercurrent exchange mechanism. The countercurrent multiplier mechanism is important in the development of hyperosmolarity in the medullary interstitium, and the countercurrent exchange mechanism is important in the maintenance of the hyperosmolarity in the medullary interstitium. The countercurrent mechanism depends on the special U-shaped arrangement of the vasa recta. The U-shaped mechanism consists of two limbs which are in close proximity. The flow of the inflowing fluid is parallel and opposite direction to the flow of the outflowing fluid. If we compare it to a straight tube system, look at this diagram. It is showing you a straight tube. At the inflow of the pipe, the temperature of the water is 30 degrees. There is a heater placed in the center, and as the water flows over the heater, it becomes heated and carries the heat with it. So at the outflow, the temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. This means that the heat is being carried away by the water as it flows through the straight tube system. Now let us bend this tube into a U shape. At the bend part there is a heater, and when the water enters, its temperature gradually increases from 30 to 90 degrees and eventually becomes 100 degrees at the heating source. As it ascends back, this water is used to heat the water in the descending limb, which shows that there is minimum loss of heat in the U-shaped system. Now, to summarize, the U-shaped system of the counter current multiplier, because of its feature of being in close proximity, parallel and in opposite direction, allows the multiplication of the solutes in the medullary interstitium.